All right, so how will we get back to training in the gym? All right, specifically, let's talk about some leg training, lower extremity. Just because there can be a mechanical low back pain, even sciatica type pain, returning to the gym can be scary. So I made a couple of exercises here in the video that possibly could work for you. Now, with that being said, there's a caveat. If you're still experiencing quite a bit of like ridiculous symptoms down the leg, strengthening at this point is probably not a good idea for you, right? We have to first make sure we bring pain up and out of the leg and centralize to the lower back, and then it's at a lower level here, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, something like that. If you still get occasional, like little tiny shocks here or there, but it's not constant, you've got good motion, I think a lot of these movements will still work for you pretty well. But just monitor that symptom and the location of those symptoms while you're doing these exercises. So if pain starts coming down the leg, but it's intermittent, it's brief. I do a certain movement, I do a certain exercise, I feel it, I stop. Okay, no worse, it's gone. That's okay. Yellow light, keep going, keep trying. If it's like coming down and remaining, right, staying, then red light. We probably aren't ready for those. Go back to the repeated movement, whether for you it's extension, whether it's some kind of like flexion or rotation that takes it up and out of the leg, but you need to find that first. Now, if you're past that, then watch the rest of the video for a good variety of lower extremity exercises that I think a lot of you can do even with a mechanical lower back pain and or some occasional intermittent sciatica. Just make sure you're stretching before and after and monitor those symptoms.
The leg extension exercise should be one that you can do with a herniated disc, possibly even with some sciatica. Now, hopefully you get most of that pain up and out of the leg. Sit yourself tall, hips all the way to the back. Don't sit slouched, all the way to the back. And as you bring your legs up and straighten the knees, watch those feet. Sometimes that nerve tension with your toes pulled back can be too much and can cause pain down the leg. So point the toes away from you a little bit if that lessens the nerve tension in the back of the leg. Remember, nerve tension is a negative or a red light sign. So go ahead and work on this leg extension to get some quads, then turn over into the hamstring curl. Now this should be easier. When you're laying down, you got a little bit of flexion in that back, and so being prone typically feels pretty good for a herniated disc. So this one, with the knees being bent, you don't have any nerve tension. So this will be a nice exercise to work on those hamstring muscles, and so you can get the quads, look at the hamstrings, just curl them up, nice and relaxed in that lower back, and really pull the heels up towards the backside. Now, here's some variations on some kettlebell lifts. I really like these. So keeping the weight in front and going into a goblet squat. This one really allows the abs and the core muscles to be kicked in by moving the weight to the front. So you can see when you come down, you can keep the back really straight. So I'm just kind of tapping there, like keep that abs, or keep your abs and the core nice and tight, and just let the hips come down, but keeping that weight in front is really helpful. You can also do a variation of more of like like a sumo squat. So there's a variation of it. You can just let the weight fall straight down, but see how you drop the hips and keep the lower back in a nice neutral position, straight down through the back. Very nice. Now, the other one that I like a lot, this is probably my favorite, but it's also more difficult, is a double kettlebell front squat. So you clean the kettlebells up, you have them in that rack position, and this really allows you to keep the abs and the stomach tight, but also keep the back straight. So as I turn to the side here, you can kind of see the butt will kind of come down straight, but my back stays in a nice neutral position. Now start with lighter weights, but as you build this up, that's a really difficult exercise. This one's a little bit more intense. It's a little bit tougher. So a single leg deadlift, but you have to make sure that you're hinging from the hip, not the back. You see how straight my body is there from the shoulder all the way down through the hip to the knee to the ankle. As I tip forward, everything is a nice straight line. Now you may get some nerve tension with this, so you have to make sure that you only stop it short and don't go too far so that you're not creating any nerve tension in the back of the leg. Now, make sure you don't twist your body, okay? It's not twisting like that. Your chest has to come down parallel to the ground, all the way down, all the way up, controlled. Work on the balance, work on the strength. Very good movement for posterior chain. Now, the leg press exercise is one that's very popular, but you have to be very careful with this one. What happens is, as you bring your knees towards your chest, your hips want to roll forward and create flexion. And this would be a loaded flexion, which could potentially be very harmful, very damaging to an already herniated disc. So bring those hips all the way to the back of the chair. You want to make sure you hang on real tight and kind of center your hips and butt down into that seat. And then make sure you stop your knees short before you feel like your hips are going to roll forward. If you go down too low and your hip starts to roll forward, that is too far. So see how when I come down farther, my hips start to roll forward and I create flexion? Make sure you keep those hips and butt all the way attached to the back of that pad, and stop short and then come back up. Now, another way that you could do this and make sure that you don't get any kind of like hip rolling is to just use one leg. So what I'll do here after these couple reps here, then go to one leg. When one leg is down, it's impossible for both hips to roll forward and create flexion if you've got one leg down. So doing single leg leg sled or single leg press is a much better option than double leg. Here are some movements for you to try.